Hello everybody and welcome to the Deltarune Chapter 5 Bingo Extravaganza. I am your all-knowing host again, and I've got a lot of crazy ideas on how Chapter 5 is going to go. You can call these ideas predictions, but that doesn't really make sense, considering I already know that all this is going to happen. Starting with one that's pretty much guaranteed, we know from the file names in Chapter 4 and the significance of flowers in this chapter that this Dark World will probably be in the Flower King, and Asgore will be the main boss. We also know that this Dark World will be in Japan, so perhaps instead of King Asgore, we get to see Emperor Asgore. Now for one with a bit more speculation, I think it's about time that Noelle comes back to the Dark World. For me, it doesn't make sense for Noelle to only show up in Chapter 2. Noelle being such an important character makes me think that she's gonna learn the nature of the Dark World soon enough. If not in Chapter 5, then maybe Chapter 6 or Chapter 7. The general consensus in the Deltarune community is that the Knight is one of the members of the Holiday family, because of the antlers. So we also need to explore Noelle's relationship with the Knight, because it's probably someone she's very close to. I'm only kind of joking. I was a really big Alvin Knighter prior to the release of Deltarune Chapter 3, so I was very, very upset when the Knight's one of the holidays. It's one of them, we know that. I'm just kind of trying to have the most special opinion out there, and everyone either thinks it's Des. That's most of them. That's like 90% of the fan base. They think it's Des. Or Carol, but I don't think it's Carol. It's too obvious to be Carol. But then again, it is also a bit too obvious to be Des. So who is the remaining candidate? Rudy! Rudy Knight confirmed. We can go. We can just end all the speculation. Rudy's the Knight. Rudy's the Knight. Speaking of the Knight, I'm fucking tired of the Papyrus Knight meme. I'm tired of it. I don't like Papyrus. I don't want him to be in Deltarune. I hope it's just a running joke where it's like, hey Chris. So yeah, you can't see my little brother Papyrus because I was up late, as you surely know. You're doing your mom. Doing your mom. I don't think anyone else has talked about this yet, but in every chapter, there's at least one character introduced that's really, really hot. Chapter 1, Rules Card. Chapter 2, Task Manager and Queen. Possibly Newbert. Chapter 3, obviously the Water Cooler. And then Chapter 4, Miss Mizzle. The bingo space doesn't say I have to predict what the hot character is gonna be, but my prediction, what I know is that there's gonna be at least one really hot person that we're all gooning to that person. Flowey is the friend inside us. This is the idea, my shower thought that this is why the video is here. This is the one thing I wanted to get out before the chapter release. You laugh at me, you mock me, you scoff at this theory, but I have more evidence than I probably should. There are 3 core components that make this plausible to me. My minuscule, tiny little brain, okay? First of all, we know that this Dark World is flower themed. That's pretty much confirmed. It's in the trailer. We see flower enemies. That means the secret boss, the friend inside us, it's probably something to do with flowers, probably a flower himself. Okay, friend inside me. Let's think about that word for a second. Friend. What type of friend is the friend inside us? We'll get back to this later. The friend inside me theory, the Woody theory, however you want to call it, revolves around cowboys. What's a famous bit of cowboy lingo? Think about this for a second. Howdy. Howdy. Who, across all of Undertale and Deltarune, is a flower, says howdy, and is our best friend? Flower. It's the only logical explanation. Bertley is one of my favorite characters in Deltarune. I just think he's like a really funny guy. And I think his character development in Chapter 2 was very good. Like, he didn't change completely as a person, but he learned to be more accepting of others who weren't him and Noelle, essentially. So why does he regress? Toby and Temmie, Toby specifically in this scenario, I think, he doesn't get a lot of stuff wrong. Deltarune's a pretty good game. There's not a lot of flaws I can speak of, but this is one of them. Why does Bertley act like this? We don't get full confirmation. We get little hints that even after Bertley thinks it was all a dream, even after he thinks none of it was real, he still has some sort of lesson in his brain, evidenced by the bit of dialogue at the end of Chapter 2. Look at this. This proves that he's a good person now. Not a good person. Maybe I'm overreacting a little bit there, but still. I don't like this. This just like kind of, what was even the point? My hope is that Toby Fox will fix this. We need to make Burley a peak character again. I need to keep defending him. I love Burley. That moment kind of ruined the Noel's house thing for me, but not completely, because you see, there was another peak moment to balance this awful moment out. I am, of course, talking about the Among Us reference. Chapter 4 is nothing without that Among Us reference. The Among Us reference makes the chapter 200% better, maybe even more. I'll have to get back to you on that. But we need to see another one. We need more Among Us references, Toby. Yes, you, down there in the comments, go and email Toby Fox asking for more Among Us jokes, Among Us references. We need them. Deltarune needs them. I need them. Okay, maybe I lost my cool a bit there. I apologize. Let's get back to the actual theories. I think Alfie's created this dark fountain. Now, you're gonna say, like, what the hell are you talking about? Well, let's think about this. Why is this dark world specifically inspired by Japan? Asgore has no connection to that place. I doubt. He looks white as hell. And for the sake of argument, let's go along with the Asian Carol theory. I saw this on YouTube and I thought it was really funny. Why wouldn't the others be Japan? There's only one logical explanation to this. Alphys is a weeb. She loves Japan. She loves anime. She loves anime. We know this. She wants anime to be real. So why not open a dark fountain to make it real? So is Alphys the knight? No. I fully believe this is a Chris situation where she just opened a fountain, but she's not the knight. Because why would it be Japan otherwise? The original Starwalker will return. He's been in every chapter. It doesn't make sense for him to not appear here. The original Starwalker will be in Chapter 5. Obviously, there's been a lot of speculation about the potential types of enemies that we will see in Chapter 5. I think there will be a flower variant of Gui. As far as I can tell, Gui is the only reference to Mandarin or Chinese, anything in Undertale and Deltarune. Wow, Toby, we know Toby speaks Japanese, we know Toby is a weeb, we know Toby loves Japan. That's why I think Gui is just a little product of Toby messing up a little. I think Toby went to Google Translate, and, he put Chinese instead of Japanese. And he didn't bother to fix it. And that's good. And I think he'll fix this mistake in Chapter 5. You don't have to care about it. I'm joking here. It doesn't matter. So Rule's card speaks... I dropped something. Rule's card speaks very Europeanly. I haven't been to Europe. I just assume that they all talk like that still. And one thing that Europe is known for is colonization. What if Rule's card colonized Japan? I do not need to explain this one. If you play Chapter 4 all the way to the end, you will agree with me. The fate of the Eggman. Now, the Eggman is one of the most mysterious characters in Deltarune. In Chapter 3, we get hints as to where he will be in the future chapters. And the one that lines up for Chapter 5 is he goes for the wheat. But here's the kicker. We have nothing else. We don't know where the Eggman will be in Chapter 6. So here's my theory. Upon giving Chris the 5th egg, the Eggman suddenly realizes, oh crap, I'm out of eggs! So he leaves the tree to go collect more. But then he stumbles across a group of flowers. These are the final moments of the Eggman. It turns out the reason the Eggman never leaves the tree is because he has a deadly pollen allergy, and he flops over, dying on the spot. This was the final egg. Moving from death to another unfortunate death. This one's entirely a joke entry. This is based off an art idea I had. I'll put it on screen right now. But I don't know, I don't want to go too in-depth with this. I think it is unwise and disrespectful to talk about a person's death in this manner. Among the last moments in Chapter 4 were Susie learning what the final prophecy thing is. I don't think we're going to get the answer to that this time. I think they're going to edge us, and I think they are going to reveal it in either Chapter 6 or 7. But however they do it, we know that it is very dark and serious, and will change the course of the story. I just really want this one to happen. More Suzelle moments. This goes back to my idea that because number one, we're gonna have the festival this chapter. We know this. We're going to get more Yuri, more doomed Yuri. We know it's doomed Yuri now because of Carol being homophobic. But yeah, be on the lookout for more Suzel moments. The Queen and Fortnite. Now, we already have Bertley in the Battle Pass, but I think now's a good opportunity to get some more Deltarune characters and Undertale characters in Fortnite. Pomni's there. If Pomni and Jax are in Fortnite, I don't see why not. As for who should be in Fortnite, I think Queen is the best choice because she is very internet and very funny. Other good choices would include the Knight, Tenna, Rules Card. None of the main people because they're too short. I've seen some people suggest that the festival is going to take place after the Flower King Dark Fountain. I'm willing to be the contrarian here, and I think it's going to take place before the Dark World happens, and there's going to be some convenient plot device, such as the rain in Chapter 4, that's going to make sure everyone else is away from the Flower King, and so no one stumbles in on the Dark Fountain. Let's circle back to the Fortnite thing. Fortnite Chapter 6 ended with a 6-7 joke, and I predict that Deltarune Tricky Tony is gonna do a funny one. He's gonna make a 6-7 joke at the end of Chapter 5, and hopefully it's Gaster that says it. I hope Gaster interrupts. I hope it's like right after the most emotional scene we've ever had, even more than the Chapter 4 moment, and he just says, "See you guys in Deltarune Chapters 6, 7. He's gonna say that. It's gonna be really funny. Deltarune Chapter 4 had a lot of Chris evil moments, where Chris was acting pretty sus, if you ask me. They were drinking beer, they were drinking alcohol, and that's a no-can-do. You can't do that. That's a very evil moment, Chris evil moment. On par with them pulling the knife out in Chapter 1. I think this will be a nice, wholesome chapter, and Chris will not be evil during it. We had too many Chris evil moments last time. They're going to scale it back at the very least. And my last vision, my last prediction, you are going to die before the release of this chapter. This can only be prevented and avoided if you hit that subscribe button. Hell yeah!